The story begins with a 12-year married couple. Therapist Mira and architect Henry Parsons, tired of the fast-paced life of Boston, are living a peaceful life by moving to Corrales, New Mexico, where Henry builds a unique modern house far from the hustle of the city. They live a beautiful, quiet life without any interference, until one day, Mira, while taking a shower after jogging, hears a banging sound from the pipes. Although she chooses to ignore it, little does she know that it's the beginning of a terrifying experience. Later that night, the couple goes out for a dinner date, leaving their phones behind to enjoy each other's company without distraction. Henry assures Mira that there's nothing to worry about the banging noise, and they return home feeling content. As they stand outside their house, Henry proudly admires the house he built with love for his wife's comfort. However, upon entering the house, they notice muddy footprints on the floor, which leads them to a disorganized and ransacked house. In a state of panic, Mira contacts the police to report the intrusion, while Henry tries to calm her down. The couple realizes the burglars only took their cell phones and laptops, leaving everything else untouched. The incident leaves the couple shaken, and they start to question the safety of their peaceful haven. Detective Morse visits the house the following day to inquire about the intrusion in Henry's presence. Despite hearing a strange banging noise in the pipes during the conversation, Morse brushes it off, considering it some plumbing work. To ease Mira's concerns, Morse instructs Henry to inform her that the police are working on some leads that will lead them to the culprit. Later that day, after finishing her work as a psychiatrist, Mira visits an oncologist to discuss her breast cancer and the infertility issues that have resulted from her disease. Fortunately, her cancer has not returned. But after hearing news of intruders at Mira's house, doctors offer her help. She politely denies, believing Henry is the only support she needs. Meanwhile, Henry takes the initiative to secure their home by installing new lights and advanced locks. When Mira returns home that night, she is pleasantly surprised to see the house thoroughly cleaned and rearranged, just as before the break-in. However, while passing by Mira's bag, Henry notices her oncologist report, which makes him uneasy as she hasn't informed him of her visit. But the couple soon resolves this matter as Henry reassures Mira that he will always be there for her, no matter their challenges. After that, the couple embraces each other with love, and Mira relaxes, feeling content. However, her peaceful slumber is interrupted when she wakes up in the middle of the night to discover that the house has suffered a power cut. Concerned about the issue, Henry investigates and steps outside to check the generators. His shock turns to fear when he discovers that the wires connected to the generator are cut, confirming his suspicions that something sinister is afoot. As Henry looks closer, he notices footprints leading towards the house, which only increases his apprehension. Henry is horrified to discover an intruder lurking in the shadows, and he quickly rushes to Mira's side to discover her tied up on the ground. Henry frantically unties her, and together they rush downstairs. In a moment of desperation, Henry recalls a gun hidden inside a plant pot, which he retrieves to defend himself and Mira. Mira is taken aback by Henry's hidden weapon, but she remains calm and composed under the present circumstances. Before the couple can escape, they are ambushed by the intruders, who attack Henry from behind. As the intruder catches Henry from behind, Mira watches in horror as her husband struggles to break free. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, Henry manages to run upstairs with Mira, where from the bedroom's balcony, Henry hangs down Mira, handing her car keys. Frantically, Mira races to the car, and just as she is about to leave, she hears a gunshot coming from inside the house, leaving her mumbling with fear for her husband's safety. Mira's fear intensifies when a barking dog suddenly approaches her. Trembling with fear, she tries to ward off the animal as she listens to the sound of gunfire coming from her home. Suddenly, one of the intruders appears, injured and begging for help, but before he can say anything, he is shot dead by Henry, who stands behind him, holding the gun in his hand. Mira is left in shock at the sight of her husband, who has resorted to such a violent act to protect them. The following day, the couple decides to visit a cafe in order to learn more about the intruders who broke into their home. There, they meet two cops who show them pictures of 3 people from Eagle Point Trailer Park across town. Henry had killed 2 of the men, but the third, Dylan Cobb, is still alive and in the ICU at St. Mary's Hospital. The cops intended to question him as soon as he regained consciousness. The cops also reveal to the couple that the intruders are suspected of kidnapping a girl named Christine Cobb, who has been missing for a month. What shocks Mira the most is that the intruders are actually Christine's own family. Mira is still struggling to cope with the trauma of the break-in, and even simple tasks like preparing dinner leave her feeling uneasy. Henry suggests they have a housewarming party to help Mira take her mind off the incident and head out to do some grocery shopping. However, in his haste, Henry forgets his wallet at home. When Mira sees Henry's wallet, she decides to catch up to him and return it. She follows him in her car, but is shocked when he takes a turn towards St. Mary's Hospital instead of going to the grocery store. Before she can investigate further, Mira gets into a car accident. After recovering from the accident and returning home, Mira asks Henry about the turn towards the hospital. He claims that it was a mistake, that he had taken a wrong turn. But Mira can't shake off the feeling that there is something more to this and wonders if there is something her husband is not telling her. The following day, Mira takes Henry's car to work. While returning home from one of her friends, she learns of Evita's cancellation of the housewarming party. By inquiring about Henry, she learns that he decides to cancel it as she does not overcome the incident yet, and the party will only increase her distress, which he never prefers. Just before leaving for home, Detective Morse approaches her, releasing a revelation on her that Dylan has died. However, what shocks her the most is he died the night Henry took the turn to the hospital. Her suspicion of Henry further increases when she finds Eagle Point's address in Henry's car, causing her to finally visit the place. Without considering it, Mira drives to Dylan's house, where she gets the house's key from Dylan's parked car. Exploring the house takes her to find Henry's architecture company's envelope with Dylan's name on the ground, which makes her believe that Henry has some connection with whatever is happening. While leaving the house, she decides to check the family mailbox, where, to her luck, she finds an envelope in the police's name, Dylan. Inside the envelope is a video cam, but before she plays it, an unknown neighbor approaches her, and, believing that she has recorded him, breaks the camera and threatens her not to revisit it again. Horrified, Mira immediately leaves the area with half-broken video cam. While reaching the house, tries to see the tape as the first priority. The video is made by Dylan himself, but before she learns of any evidence, the tap stops because of cam breakage, causing her to order a new video camera at her counseling center. Out of curiosity, Mira decides to investigate Henry's office, where she finds a USB, which causes her to be shocked when she finds Dylan's pictures of constructing their house. Before she further explores the folder, Henry's house approaching noise causes her to leave his office unnoticed immediately. That night, Mira decides to sneak into the office again, where she hears a pipe banging sound again, but by leaving the noise unnoticed, she keeps checking the pictures and remains shocked to find Christine with Dylan on their house's construction site. In the early morning, with USB in her hand, Mira drives to the police station, where she finds police capturing the man who broke the video camera as Christine's kidnapping suspect, from where she gets the idea that the girl is retrieved safely. Without revealing anything to the police, she returns home and inquires about the USB and Henry's company's envelope at Dylan's trailer. And here, Henry speaks out, saying while building this house, he went short on money, leading him to commit some fraud. And on his construction site, Dylan, while working, mistreats his daughter Christine. Seeing this makes Henry fire him on the spot, but Dylan threatens to disclose his fraud, which makes Henry give him money to shut his mouth. And when Henry stops giving him the money, he decides to intrude into his house with his family. The story seems true to Mira, who somewhere also claims her knowing that Henry has nothing to do with Christine's disappearance. After a long investigation, Mira finally settles into her routine, agreeing to a housewarming party with her husband. At work, she receives a new video camera, which she decides to leave unopened, thinking it unnecessary. As the night of the party arrives, their friends gather to celebrate their new home. However, Mira's calm demeanor is shattered when she learns that the suspect in Christine's kidnapping has been cleared of all charges, and the young girl is still missing. In a desperate attempt to uncover new clues, Mira rushes to unbox the video camera and play the tape inside. To her shock, she sees Dylan, the disgruntled worker from Henry's construction site, recording inside their home, claiming to suspect Henry of kidnapping Christine due to the way he looked at her. Dylan's dog also barks near Henry's office, indicating that Christine's scent may be present there. Mira quickly rushes to Henry's office and begins to examine the house's map. As she scrolls, she notices that Henry's office leads to a secret room. Her heart racing, she explores the office and discovers a hidden door leading to a basement. There, to her horror, she finds Christine bound with chains. It becomes clear to her that the pipe banging noise was not plumbing work, but the sound of Christine's chains striking the pipes. Seeing Mira, Christine begins to scream, but she manages to calm her and decides to go upstairs to be some help. As she turns around, she finds Henry at the back, who arrives there after seeing his office's lights turned on. Here, the reason for Henry's constructing the house far from the town reveals. He tries to convince Mira on his side by claiming that just like her cancer, killing is in his genes, and he always feels the urge to homicide, as it is not in his control. But when Mira denies supporting him, he bangs her on the ground and ties her hands to leave her in the basement like Christine. Leaving Mira, Henry reaches upstairs and, by excusing his guests, empty the house. As Henry is upstairs, Mira, after some struggle, manages to untie herself and also releases Christine to hide down there. As Henry comes downstairs, taking the opportunity, both escape with Henry chasing them. However, by closing the door on Henry's hand, Mira and Christine escape the basement trap, but are still chased by Henry. As they are about to leave the house, Henry, with his newly installed high-technology locks, closes the doors, making them hide inside the house. But before they find a way to escape, Henry finds them, and by throwing Mira on the ground after treating her, brutally drags Christine down to the basement. By tying her up again, as he is about to kill her with a bat, Mira bangs on his head from the back, causing him to lose his senses immediately. The head strike kills Henry on the spot, with Mira and Christine successfully escaping the house. The movie ends when Christine's kidnapping matter finally resolves, while after some time, Mira empties the house and shifts to another place, leaving behind his husband's memories, who, in reality, was nothing more than a killer. Thanks for watching.